Hey everybody, Alex Newman here, and we have a very special guest, Kerry Baldwin. She's an independent author, researcher. She's a co-author of this book right here, Faith Seeking Freedom, Libertarian Christian Answers to Tough Questions. And boy, are there some tough questions. She's also on staff with the Libertarian Christian Institute. And I have to say, I was very intrigued by the name, because I've often thought of myself as a libertarian Christian. But, the name libertarian has kind of gotten, as you know, associated with killing babies and using the force of government to redefine marriage. But you take a pro-life position, and you say the libertarian position must be pro-life. Explain.
So libertarianism is based on two fundamental principles. The first is the principle of self-ownership, which is the idea that no one has a higher claim on your body than you do, and that's what gives you your negative rights, the right to not be aggressed against. And that leads to the second principle, which is the principle of non-aggression, which says you are not allowed to initiate aggression, force, fraud, or violence against another human being. So when it comes to the question of abortion, obviously the first question is, well, is a fetus or an unborn baby a self-owner? Does it have rights? And I make the argument that the fetus from conception, from the moment conception is complete, is a self-owner and therefore has a right to not be aggressed against. And so if those things are true, then libertarianism is necessarily pro-life.
I happen to agree with you, but where do you discern these principles from the Bible? I'm very familiar with the libertarian idea of non-aggression, the non-aggression principle. Is that a biblical principle or is that a political idea?
Yeah, so when it comes to self-ownership, we would say that what God has given us is a self-stewardship, right? So God owns us, but He has given us responsibility over our own lives, right? So I am not responsible to take care of your life for you. I am responsible for my life, right? And I cannot intervene with that. I can't murder you. I can't steal. And we know that because we have the Ten Commandments, for example. So Scripture talks about how you cannot murder, you can't steal. It recognizes property rights, and it recognizes the life of the unborn. So we would actually say that libertarianism is the best expression of Christian political thought. We believe that the principles that are explained by libertarianism are true because they are written into the fabric of reality, that God put them there. So that's how we talk about that.
So a lot of Christians, especially in the modern era, I think, I guess it's been going on for hundreds of years. So Romans 13 says you just need to obey the government and stop asking so many questions. How do you, as a libertarian Christian, deal with those verses that say, you need to obey the government, you need to submit to the government?
Well, we would say that Romans 13 is prescriptive, not descriptive. So Romans 13 is not describing what the state is doing as it exists. Romans 13 is prescribing what civil governance ought to look like, right? So the civil authorities should be punishing evildoers, and the principle for that is found in a principle called lex talionis, which is essentially the eye for an eye principle. So it's putting a limitation on what sort of reaction you can have to a rights violation. So when we look at Romans 13 is putting a limitation on what civil governance can do. It's not baptizing everything the state does.
Do you believe that all Christians then should be libertarians if they're properly understanding Scripture?
Well, there's a good distinction to make between philosophical libertarians and political, the political party. I would never say that a Christian needs to, register as the Libertarian Party and vote the party line.
Yeah.
I do think that libertarian principles are certainly something that Christians should look at and really examine alongside Scripture. And if they're convicted of that, I think that's the best way to go as far as political philosophy is concerned.
Awesome. And before we let you go, tell us a little bit about the Libertarian Christian Institute, the motto, making the Christian case for a free society. What do you guys do, and how do you do it? Opposing empire since AD 33. You guys have been around for a while.
So we do make the Christian case for a free society. Like we said, we believe libertarianism is the best expression of Christian political thought. So we tried to make the case to Christians that you can be libertarian. This is something that is not only compatible with Christian theology, but is really born from Christian theology in a way.
Even on like drugs and prostitution.
Yes, in fact, we have an entire chapter in this book on Christian ethics, and we address the prostitution question, we address the drug war question. The prostitution question is really a matter of giving women the opportunity to get out. And a lot of times what happens when a woman gets trapped in prostitution, she's not able to get out because of the stigma associated with that. They can get siphoned into a criminal justice system that exploits them even more. So when we talk about decriminalizing prostitution, it's not because we endorse prostitution, it's because that's the easiest way to get women out who have changed their minds about being involved with that. And the same thing goes with the drug war. People tend to take drugs because they are trying to escape a childhood trauma or something of that nature, and putting them in prison or exploiting them to find a drug dealer doesn't do them any good. And so we want that decriminalized so that they have an opportunity to actually go through rehab and get healing and then become a productive part of society.
Fantastic. So where do people learn more? Libertarianchristians.com. You have a personal website also, you mentioned?
Yeah, so my own personal website is mereliberty.com, and I've done a lot of work on the abortion issue, which you can find at mereliberty.com/abortion. And I've also talked about the prostitution issue on my podcast and a lot of other issues related to women and Christianity and libertarianism.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Kerry. Appreciate you speaking with us.
Thank you very much.